Hi everyone, welcome back to Second Chance Exotics, or if this is your first time, welcome. Anyways, I will be talking all about her. So, her is the Crested Gecko I have with MBD. I'm going to go through her story, what is MBD, what things could happen, and not necessarily like treatment, but like things we did to help her, and things I feel like other people could know that would possibly help them. Okay, so like all good stories start with animals. I went on Craigslist, and I go there almost every day, but I was looking around and I was talking to my boyfriend, and we decided that like we have a quarantine enclosure, we have a permanent setup if a female that we get won't be good with our other females, so like we were prepared. So I was looking around specifically for a breeder female, and I came across this ad for the town I was in, and it was like healthy Crested Gecko, comes with food, pick up ASAP. And I was just like, okay, message the person. The girl seemed pretty nice, but she was like, no, under no circumstances can they be with any other Crested Geckos. She killed the other Crested Geckos. She's a little aggressive. And then on top of that, she was just like, I have certain foods for her, but yeah. And I was just like, okay, well, I can come get her like now. So we ended up picking her up that day, and she gave us these. So she had Repashy diet for the Crested Gecko, and then she had these little like gummy square things for her. And when we saw her size, she totally looked like a juvenile, maybe sub-adult, like she could still turn into a boy. She was that small. So I was just like, ugh. But I saw her, and clear MBD, 2 to 3 layers of stuck shed. She had nipped crown points, she had a nipped tail, she had 2 missing toes, and like she basically looked like a gray white with how much stuck shed and like nicks and stuff all over her. So immediately took her. The girl, she was nice, but she was just like, someone gave it to her, she was following their instructions, she's only had snakes, and I'm just like, okay, but like Google and YouTube, but thank you. Okay, so real quick before I show her enclosure and everything, I want to talk about like what causes MBD and a few things that could happen if this imbalance or lack of stuff happens. So MBD, metabolic bone disease, is basically caused by an imbalance of calcium, phosphorus, and vitamin D in the bones. So this can cause quite a few things. First of all, you can see that like her spine was a little messed up. So basically it affects every and anything with the bones. So it could also create like hard lumps and bumps around bigger bones, like in their legs and in their back and around their face. It also can soften the jaw, make it more flexible, so then it like grows weird, and they also could have like difficulties like lifting their body up, which she did whenever we first got her. She did have basically like diarrhea, which is one of the things, because it is an imbalance, so it's affecting their bones, but it's also affecting like just their digestive system. So just being constipated or having bad poos is something to look out for. And also all of this together can create a lack of appetite and depression, which like We're not about here. Really try hard to make sure all my animals get the proper like exercise and entertainment, enjoyment that they can, going outside, getting special treats and all that stuff. And it's just like, depression in people sucks, but like, you know, you don't want your animal to be depressed. Like, you're choosing to take care of them. Anyways, sorry. So they can get depressed. And ultimately that can, all of this can turn into seizures, and they can start getting like twitches, which are things that when you start treating them or start feeding them the correct stuff to balance out everything in their body, sometimes these things don't go away, and like ultimately this can cause death because you're making their bones weak, you're making them like either grow too quickly or too slowly, and they can break and just like they can injure the animal to a point of becoming deceased. So it's really serious, and something that needs to be known is MBD can be caused by a lack of or too much of these three things. A lot of people think it's just from a lack of calcium, but it's just the imbalance in the levels of the nutrients for the bones. So that's something to definitely keep in mind. Okay, so this is her. Here she is in all her beauty. You can tell where the MBD is right here. Her nicked tail, her little crown points, and also she does have a little messed up of a jaw. But yeah, there she is. She's pretty tiny. We've had her for a while though, and I feel like this is just as big as she's gonna get. But pretty active, pretty awesome. We love her. I feel like she has more of a personality than a lot of my other Crested Geckos. She does have a bit of a problem like really sticking to stuff, so I'm going to show you her enclosure in a second. Okay, so the first step we took in getting her, because she had so many layers of stuck shed, we actually put her in a sauna. So if you own a Crested Gecko, you might know about this, but basically, oh, I have a little one for like my hatchlings. So you get a piece of Tupperware, make sure there's holes around it, put paper towel at the bottom, and then you just soak the paper towel, and then once the Crested Gecko is in there, you spray them down, let them sit in here, monitor them for about 10 to 15 minutes. We did that with her twice a day for 3 days. So that's an important thing just in general if your Crested Gecko gets stuck shut or anything, but she was like really bad, so immediately when we got home we got a container and let her chill in there, and we also put some food in there, which comes to the next thing that we did, and like the first thing you should do whenever you have an animal with MBD or see that your animal has metabolic bone disease is adjust their diet. So you need to figure out everything that your specific animal needs. What her needed was the proper amount of calcium and D3 and a nice amount of multivitamins. Yeah. And a really good diet. So what I like to give her, especially because she was pretty weak, like she couldn't like raise her body up very fast. Sometimes she didn't want to at all. So we didn't want to feed her insects, but we definitely know she needed that. So we got her this fig and insect. To me, it's like the best smelling Pangea. Not that you need to eat it or smell it, but it smells pretty good. And then also got her the mixed fruit, right? Like the punch flavor. It's just the Pangea Crested Gecko diet with insects. It's the original, most generic one. So we got her this, and then also made sure to get her this because it has black soldier fly larvae instead of something that's just like, you know, different insects. This one has, one second. It's just this insect meal. So I was thinking that it has like a lot of like crickets. I could be lying. Anyways, I just like for her to have like a diversity in her food. So I also got her this. It's Repashy grubs and fruit. So like I said, it has the black soldier fly larvae meal. And it's just a different brand too, and it's one I really like, so I wanted to get her that. So the things I showed you previously, this dude and this dude. So what I did was I got a super small amount and put like literally a pinch of that into her Pangea or Repashy mix. And then, okay, so basically with the powder diets, you do 1 part powder, 2 parts water. So what I do is 1 part powder, 1 part water, and 1 part Pedialyte. The plain white or clear Pedialyte. It really helps with their digestive system, it helps with their skin, and she really needed that, so I did that for her for the first month. So that was the way I arranged her food, and I think it made it easier for her to eat, and I definitely noticed a difference in her stool in about like 2 weeks. So I would definitely recommend adding stuff like that, especially because like I said, she was pretty weak and we didn't want to feed her any live insects. After that first month, we did start, oh, I'm sorry, my lighting's like, oh, sorry. Anyways, we did start feeding her crickets, and she gets like the smallest crickets from our local pet store, and we dust them with the calcium and vitamin D. We do that now, and then we also only put in the pinch of these two with every 3rd meal, so she gets fed every other day, so at least once a week she gets an extra boost of these powders. But I also but I still mix in Pedialyte in her food once a week as well. So whenever I put this in, I also do the Pedialyte. And I tend to do that with this one because I feel like, maybe it's just because I like it, but I noticed most of my Crested Geckos, especially the hatchlings, definitely go for this one over the original. So I do that little mixture with this in case she actually does taste the powder a bit and doesn't like it. I feel like she's more open to eating it with this. So that's the first step with the MBD. Sorry that took so long. Anyways, okay, so next thing is to adjust your enclosure and pick supplies for your reptile based on your specific reptile. She's a Crested Gecko, but she's really, really small. She has some missing toes. She has a bad back. Whenever she was in quarantine in a tub, we noticed she'd just like stay in the bottom. So I got her 2 humid hides and also a cork bark that is a little round one that stays at the bottom. And then on top of that, I got her foliage that is smaller, and they like chain link with the leaves. So if she couldn't grasp onto the leaves, she could hold on to the plastic chain link. Let me show you that right now. Okay, this is her enclosure. I forgot to mention that she's also in a 12 by 12 by 18 Exoterra, just because she's pretty small, so I thought this would be good for her. So there's one of her human hides that I made. Here's the other one, cork bark, And here's the foliage, the chain link, that's what I mean right there. So she has the ability, or just like more of an ease to climb. And she also got that little, this is basically a soap dish from Walmart. So I wanted that there in case she was climbing and stuff and got tired or just wanted to lay in it. So I'm glad she's using that. But yeah. Okay, hopefully this is like the same angle. Yeah, okay. So, that was her enclosure. One thing that I did forget to mention was also during her first week here, I did have a top light on her enclosure. It was a ultraviolet UVB bulb, super tiny. I just wanted it in there for her for the first week just to like get everything started, but I don't use that anymore. I feel like it could be generating heat and I just didn't want that for her. So the final thing that I wanted to put in this video, tell myself, tell my boyfriend, make sure that it is known, is that metabolic bone disease is not necessarily curable. Her spine won't go back the way it was, like the way it's supposed to, straight. Her jawline won't rearrange itself. Her tail, well, of course with Crested Geckos, we all know that. The tail won't grow back, but especially like the little nub part, it won't grow back. Her crest points won't grow back. Her toes won't come back. Specifically for her case, but general MBD, when the bones become deformed, there's no going back to normal, and people just need to be realistic about this, and understand that they were growing, your reptile, your baby, your critter was growing, and this happened to them, and they are going to be like that. So you are going to just have to keep a close eye on them, make sure you give them everything they need, everything that they deserve, and that at the end of the day, you have this animal and they're your pet and you're taking care of them, you love them. So just know that there's no cure for this or anything. There's just ways to stop anything from continuing and get them back to a healthy and happy life. So that was the main thing that we had to tell ourselves, is that our main goal is for her to be comfortable, for her to be cared for, loved. So from this video, I got to tell you her story, I got to tell you what metabolic bone disease is, how it happens, some signs to look out for, some very intense symptoms, things that could happen, and the steps we took, and hopefully this helps other people out. And I just really wanted to get her story out there. I think she's pretty awesome, and even though we can't rewind time or anything like that, she's perfect the way she is, and I'm lucky that I found her on Craigslist, got her, and have her with us now. So yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this story time info, step-by-step video thing, and y'all have a great day. Please like, subscribe, comment. Y'all want to comment? Maybe? Who knows? And you'll have a great day. Thank y'all so much for stopping by.